So it's about that time of year. 2019 is coming to an end and 2020 is right around the corner. So in today's video, I'm going to be looking at 4 horror movies that are going to be releasing in theaters in January of 2020. So this list is in chronological order of release date, with our very first film coming to us January 3rd, 2020 in the form of The Grudge. The Grudge is a remake of the 2004 Japanese horror thriller Ju-On, and basically the story here is a single mother and young detective Muldoon discovers that a suburban house is cursed by a vengeful ghost that dooms those who enter it with a violent death. Now she runs to save herself and her son from demonic spirits from the cursed house in her neighborhood. So this movie is starring Andrea Riseborough in the lead role. Demian Bichir, as well as is also in this movie. John Cho is a favorite actor of mine from Star Trek, and Harold and Kumar, and of course Lin Shaye, who you probably all know from the Insidious movies. This movie, honestly, surprisingly, if you've seen the Red Band trailer, I thought it actually looked pretty creepy. It's got a lot of it's got a lot of unique type of jump scares that I thought it was bringing in the very first trailer, and of course with just the caliber of actors that they have in this film, I'm very curious to see how this movie's going to turn out. I want to give it a shot. I know we've had our fair share of American versions of the Grudge movies, back in the early 2000s, but I really think that let's give this movie a shot, and I think we could probably end up being pleasantly surprised by this. Again, John Cho is one of our leads, along with Andrea Riseborough. So I think this movie has a lot of potential to be a very good January horror flick, because that's something that we actually don't get that often is good horror flicks so early in the year. But moving on from this movie, we have Underwater, which releases January 10th, and it stars Kristen Stewart, T.J. Miller, Jessica Henwick, John Gallagher Jr., just a really good cast. I'm starting to see a trend here with, great cast for all these horror movies. But getting into the plot, basically the film follows a crew of underwater researchers who must scramble to safety after an earthquake devastates their subterranean laboratory. So I loved this trailer, which dropped a few months back, and basically it looks like Alien in the ocean, right? And if you notice some of the slow-mo shots, just the cinematography, it looks like 20th Century Fox was like, okay, we're going out of business anyways, Disney's about to buy us, let's just make a big budget alien movie in the ocean. And I am all for it. I love Kristen Stewart. She's a great actress. I know she gets a bad rap for the Twilight movies, as does, Mr. Robert Pattinson, our Batman now. But I really like her as an actress, and I think this movie could end up being a lot of fun. And T.J. Miller as well gets a bad rap, but hey, what can I say? I enjoy seeing him pop up in these movies, whether it's like the Deadpool or even that last Transformers movie, which wasn't very good, but I thought he was the best part about it. So, give me these ancient, weird sea creatures, hunting down our lead cast here in the ocean, for that matter. Sign me up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go in the theater, and I feel like this is going to be a good, fun popcorn movie. Don't take it seriously, but just sit back and just enjoy it. I think that's what you can probably expect from Underwater. But our third out of 4 movies here that we have coming to us next is January 24th. We have The Turning. And The Turning's plot is takes us to a mysterious estate in the Maine countryside, where newly appointed nanny Kate is charged with the care of 2 disturbed orphans, Flora and Miles. Quickly, she discovers that both the children and the house are harboring dark secrets, and things may not be as they appear. So, of course, the 2 children who are starring as leads here are Mackenzie Davis and Finn Wolfhard, who are actually also both in the upcoming Ghostbusters movie. So it's they're probably going to have a good rapport with each other, and I think that we can probably expect a lot of good acting in this movie. And it's based off The Turn of the Screw by Henry James, which is a great source material to be adapting. So I thought, hey, the trailer really piqued my interest. It really grabbed me. I'm loving the cinematography and some of the lighting and just some of the shots that are in the trailer. And it's a very it looks like a really good mystery. And again, you can't go wrong with Finn Wolfhard. The guy just knocks out everything. He knocks everything out of the park. he knows how to pick a role, and I believe that he's a really good script reader. You know, he's not starring in movies that aren't good. You know, whether you look at the It movies, or or if you look at Stranger Things, I think that he knows a good script when he reads it. So I'm willing to bet that this is probably going to be a fun, or maybe not so much fun, excuse me, but a very dark and just sinister adaptation of this story. And I want to see it. I think it has a, much like like I said with The Grudge, I think it has potential. And again, I think there's a strong cast behind it. So no reason to be concerned with this movie. I have nothing but positive vibes going into it. Our final film that we're going to be looking at here is actually the only one that I'm not so much interested in it, but it's still a horror movie that's releasing in January, so I had to include it on the list. And it's coming out January 31st, and it is Gretel and Hansel, which is of course a nice twist on the Hansel and Gretel. And basically, that's what it is. The story. The story hides a dark secret, is what the plot is saying here. From visionary director Oz Perkins comes a terrifying new twist on a classic tale. So, of course, we know it's Hansel and Gretel, but they're switching the gender roles in terms of title lead. And Sophia Lillis is starring in this, which is really the only reason, to be honest with you. When I saw the trailer, if you haven't seen the trailer, she's great in It. She's great in It Chapter 2. She's a very strong actress, so I have a lot of faith in her acting abilities. But as for the movie itself, I'm not so quite sure. For some reason, whatever it is, it didn't quite capture me. Maybe it did for you. I'm still going to be interested in seeing how this movie turns out. It looks very Hereditary-like, very Witch-like, right? And I'm not comparing it to those movies or saying it's going to be as great as those two amazing horror flicks, but I'm just saying the vibe that it's sort of giving off, right? Just the visual, the aesthetic of it all, that's what it's reminding me of. So, if it could even be half as good as those movies, that would be a win in my book. But yeah, these are 4, again, of the horror movies that you can expect in theaters January of 2020. If you like this little this little month-by-month preview that I am planning to do for 2020 of just the horror movies that are coming out each month, please leave a like on this video and let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know which movie of these 4 you're looking forward to the most for January of 2020. For me, it's probably going to have to be Underwater, just because of the cast and just the premise, and it looks like this is probably going to be the biggest budgeted movie of them all. But yeah, so until next time, guys, this has been Millennium Movies, and I will see you all very soon.